Hello, everybody. This is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Part 4, Chapter 3. "Did you meet him?" she asked when they were seated under the lamp by the drawing-room table. "That's your punishment for coming so late." "How's it so? Oughtn't he to have gone to the council?" "He went there, but he came back again to go, I know not where. But that's no matter. Let us talk no more about it. Tell me where you've been all this time, with the prince." She knew the most minute details of his life. He wanted to reply that he had no rest the night before. He allowed himself to oversleep, but the sight of her happy, excited face made this acknowledgment difficult, and he excused himself on the plea of having been obliged to present his report after the prince's departure. "It's over now, is it? Has he gone?" "Yes, thank the Lord. You have no idea how intolerable this week seemed to me." "And why so? Have you not been leading the life customary to you young people?" she said, frowning and without looking at Vronsky, taking up some crocheting that was lying on the table. "I renounced that life long ago," he replied, trying to discover the cause of the sudden change in her beautiful face. "I assure you," he added, smiling and showing his white teeth, "that it was overpoweringly unpleasant to me to look at that old life again, as it were, in a mirror." She did not reply, but gave him a strange, not quite friendly look, and kept her crocheting in her hand, though she did not work. "Liza came to me this morning. They came to my house again, in spite of the Countess Lydia Ivanovna, and told me about your Athenian nights. What an abomination! I want to tell you that you are odious, you men. How can you suppose that woman forgets?" said she, growing more and more animated, and then disclosing the cause of her irritation. "And above all, a woman who, like myself, can know nothing of your life except what you wish to tell her. And can I know whether it is the truth? Anna, you've no longer any faith in me? Have I ever concealed anything from you?" "You're right, but if you only knew how I suffer," she said, trying to drive away her jealous fears. "I believe in you. I do believe in you. What do you want to say to me?" He couldn't remember. Anna's fits of jealousy were becoming frequent, and however much he tried to conceal it, these scenes, although proofs of love, made him grow cool towards her. How many times had he not said to himself that happiness existed for him only in this love, and now that he felt himself loved passionately, as is only possible to a man for whom a woman has sacrificed everything, happiness seemed further off than when he left Moscow. "Well, tell me what you have to say about the prince," replied Anna. "I've driven away the demon." For this they called her fits of jealousy between themselves. "You began to tell me something. In what way was his stay so disagreeable?" "He was unbearable," replied Vronsky, trying to pick up the thread of his thought again. "The prince doesn't improve on close acquaintance. I can only compare him to one of those highly fed animals which take prizes at exhibitions," he added, with an air of vexation which seemed to interest Anna. "But isn't he a well-informed man who's traveled a great deal? One would say that he was well-informed only for the sake of scorning information, as he scorns everything else except material pleasures." "But are you not also fond of all these pleasures yourself?" said Anna, with a sad look which again struck him. "Why do you try to defend him?" he asked, smiling. "I'm not trying to defend him. I don't care enough about him for that. But I can't help thinking if that life was so distasteful to you, you might have dispensed with going to admire that Thérèse in the costume of Eve." "There's a demon coming back again," said Vronsky, drawing one of Anna's hands towards him to kiss. "Oh yes, it's stronger than I. You can't imagine what I suffered while I was waiting for you. I do not think I'm jealous in the bottom of my heart. When you're here, I believe in you, but when you're away, leading a life so incomprehensible to me." She drew away from him and began to work nervously, drawing her crochet needle through the stitches of white wool which gleamed in the lamplight. "Tell me how you met Alexey Alexandrovitch," she asked suddenly, in a voice still constrained. "We almost ran against each other at the door. And did he greet you like this?" She drew down her face, half closed her eyes, and changed her whole expression to such an extent that Vronsky could not help recognizing Alexey Alexandrovitch. He smiled, and Anna began to laugh with that fresh, ringing laugh which was one of her greatest charms. "I do not understand him," said Vronsky. "I should have supposed that after your explanation in the country, he would have broken off with you and provoked a duel with me. But how can he bear the actual situation? One can see that he suffers." "He," said she with an ironical smile, "oh, he's very happy. Why should we all torture ourselves in this way when everything might be arranged? That doesn't suit him. How well I know his nature, made up of lies. Who, unless he were devoid of susceptibility, could live with a guilty woman as he lives with me, speaking to her in the affectionate way that he speaks to me?" And she imitated the way her husband would say, "You, ma chère Anna." "He's not a man, I tell you. He's a puppet. If I were in his place, I would long ago have torn in pieces a woman like myself, instead of saying, 'You, ma chère Anna,' to her. But he's not a man. He is a ministerial machine. He doesn't understand that he is no longer anything to me, that he is in the way. No, no, let us not talk about him." "You're unjust, my dear friend," said Vronsky, trying to calm her. "But no, let us not talk any more about him. Let us talk about yourself, about your health. What does the doctor say?" She looked at him with gay raillery, and would have willingly continued to turn her husband into ridicule, but he added, "You wrote me that you were suffering. Tell me about it." A sarcastic smile disappeared from Anna's lips and gave place to an expression full of sadness. "You say that our position is a frightful one, and that it must be changed. I shall not weary you much longer with my jealousy, for soon, very soon, all will be changed, and not in the way we think." She grew tender as she spoke of herself. Tears prevented her from continuing, and she placed her white hand, whose rings sparkled in the lamplight, on Vronsky's arm. "What do you mean?" he said. "Well, I'm going to die very soon, and I'm willing to die, to relieve you both of my burdensome presence." Her tears continued to fall, while Vronsky kissed her hands and tried to conceal his own emotion in calming hers. "It's better that it should be so," she said, pressing her hand fervently. "But what a foolish idea," said Vronsky, lifting up his head and regaining his self-possession. "What utter absurdity." "No, I'm telling you the truth." "What do you mean by the truth?" "That I'm going to die. I've seen it in a dream." "In a dream?" said Vronsky, involuntarily recalled the mushik of his nightmare. "Yes, in a dream," she continued. "Some time ago I dreamed that I ran into my room to get, something or other. I was searching about, as one does in dreams, and I noticed something standing in the corner of my room." "What nonsense! How do you suppose—" But she wouldn't let him interrupt her. What she was telling seemed too important to her. And this something turned round, and I saw a little dirty mushik with an unkempt beard. I wanted to run away, but he bent towards a bag in which he moved some object. She made the motion of a person rummaging in a bag. Terror was depicted on her face, and Vronsky, recalling his own dream, felt the same terror seize him. And all the while he was searching, he talked very fast, in French, lisping. Il faut le battre, le faire, le broyer, le pétrir. I tried to wake up, but I only woke up in my dream, asking what it could mean. Then I heard someone say to me, 'You're going to die. You're going to die, Matushka.' And at last I came to myself." "What an absurd dream," said Vronsky, ill concealing his own emotion. "Let us not say more about it. Ring, I'm going to give you some tea, so stay a little longer. We haven't had any for a long time." She suddenly ceased speaking. Horror and fright disappeared from her face, which assumed an expression of attentive, serious sweetness.